I have a little confession to make. I have been struggling with a little bit of Morton's Neuroma recently, and I even tore the plantar plate in my foot, but it taught me a very important lesson that I want to share with you now. So, long story short, I've been taking up a lot more running recently. I decided to increase my running load a little bit too quickly. Well, not too quickly, I was building it up over time, but I had a little hiatus. I felt like I wasn't getting the results that I wanted, so I wanted to push the intensity a little bit, and I probably pushed the intensity a little bit too quickly. There was a multitude of sort of like factors that went into it. I changed my running shoes, I changed my running intensity, I had a sickness, which meant I missed out on a few sessions and then tried to build back a little bit too quickly. I then also made a small mistake in my diagnosis in that I thought that it was just a tendon related issue. And so if it was a tendon related issue, it's just a strengthening issue. So I tried strengthening it up, but after 2 or 3 runs, I realized pretty quickly that it wasn't a tendon issue. So I had to change my plan of attack and just give it a little bit of rest. But basically what happened is, I think I changed my running shoes. I bought the wrong running shoes, which made me pronate out a little bit more, which means I was hanging out on the lateral column of my foot, or sort of the pinky side of my feet too much. That with a lack of calf strength meant that I was like going through resisted plantar flexion, or my calves weren't strong enough to slowly decelerate my foot, and I started putting too much pressure through the knuckle or the base of the metatarsal head. And then I think this is what caused a little neuroma to form in my foot. That neuroma got bigger and eventually it burst my plantar plate. So I've got a nice little V deformity in my toe as a little reminder of it, but I don't want you guys to make the same mistake. So make sure you stay along with this video where I'll go through 3 of the biggest exercises that help me get back to running, and even running a little bit quicker and a little bit longer than before, which is exactly what I wanted. I just had to learn a valuable lesson in between. The first exercise we want to roll through is one we give to almost all our foot clients, is just rolling out the foot with a golf ball. And so a lot of the times we will be doing this to improve proprioceptive feedback, but in this particular instance, we actually just want to go a little bit lighter with the rolling, and we just want to start to get a little bit of a fluid flow, a fluid shift in the foot. So obviously we want to be rolling up and down, but the main part of that Morton's Neuroma that we want to be working on is a little bit of the side to side. And so when we do the side to side underneath the knuckles, we just want to plant the foot or the heel down first, roll side to side. And again, like we said before, this is more just to get rid of any excess fluid or to like help with fluid shifts. So we don't really want to be going very hard with this. We want to keep it at like maybe like a 1 or 2 out of 10, where it just feels like you're getting a little bit of pressure. And if you notice like between there, like I get a little bit of pressure. So we just want to add little vibrations in there, but nothing painful, nothing too strenuous. Then we can also sort of just rub in between those areas as well, just to sort of start to get rid of any excess inflammation, desensitize the pain or the sensitivity around there a little bit, and also warm the foot up for the next set of exercises that we're going to get going on. So a really important muscle to start to strengthen after we've gone through an injury process with the foot is actually our peroneal muscles. So your peroneus longus is a muscle that runs down through there and attached into the base of your big toe. And I guess the reason why this guy is so important to build back up is because I think what actually caused a lot of my issues was my flexor digitorum longus, which it attaches down into or underneath the base of my big toe, and then it runs up the back and up this side of the shin. So as I started to press in around my foot and ankle, I realized that's a lot tighter and more inflamed than it needs to be. And so I released it off just with my thumb by pressing in, and then its main role is to flex the toes and externally rotate the foot out. So I just want to put it in a short position, press, and then do the opposite motion so that I can start to stretch it out. And so it often becomes tight because your gastrocs or like your calf complex isn't doing a good enough job of decelerating your foot hitting the ground. And so it'll start to recruit all the other muscles around there to do the job for it. The other thing that kicks this guy in is when the intrinsic muscles of the feet aren't strong enough to push down through the foot, and you end up actually clawing through the foot when you're running or walking. And so we just want to release this guy off because he's nice and tight. Then the peroneals is actually the agonist or the antagonist, the opposite of that muscle. So we want to strengthen that muscle up so that we can get the foot back into a nice neutral position. And so a nice easy way of doing this is you grab a booty band, you pop it around the foot, and then we're just going to sort of roll the foot out and up, or like that in a U or a J shape, so that we're feeling the side of the muscle. A lot of people, when they start doing this, that we find in clinic, because they don't have enough strength through that peroneal muscle, is they end up turning their whole leg out. But really, if you find like you're activating through the quads and even up through your TFL, then what you want to do is you want to go to neutral, let the foot drop in, then just return back to neutral to start to get it strong enough to get your foot back into a more natural position. And then once you can get back to neutral, then you can start to outwardly rotate that foot and train the peroneals properly. Peroneals is a workhorse. So like you should be doing like at least 3 sets of 15 to start off with for this guy, because it's on all day, every day when you're walking around. So I go through and I do 3 sets of 15. I'll do 3 sets of 15 even on the other side or the unaffected side, because even when I'm using this guy, I'm still isometrically holding this guy. So I'm still building strength through this peroneal muscle, even though I'm contracting and relaxing this guy. I'm working this guy by just holding the tension and not letting it drop in. So really important one to start to load up the foot again. The next one we're going to do is moving the band up to around the tops of the ankles. We're then just going to like push the leg out here, and we're going to go through a calf raise where the band is pulling us into internal rotation of your shin bone, and we want to create outward rotation or external rotation of your shin bone, which is going to stimulate the longitudinal arch of your foot, which is this one, but it's also going to it'll also stimulate the transverse arch of your foot, which is the one that runs along here. And when it gets compressed, it's the one that actually gives you a Morton's neuroma. So again, start off with what's bearable for you. So this mic, I started off with 3 sets of 8 because it was quite uncomfortable. But as my foot and calf got stronger and I wasn't irritating the foot as much, I was able to work up to 3 sets of 15, 3 sets of 20. The other bonus is obviously it works the foot intrinsic muscles, but it also gets you activating your glutes here, which are also going to take a bit of pressure off your foot. The third and final exercise we're going to go through is like a banded psoas march. And obviously banded psoas march is going to be working on a little bit of core. So the core will help to stabilize the foot and slow down foot deceleration. But the other added bonus we get of doing the psoas march in this position is we're actually going to strengthen out the tibialis anterior, which will slow down that foot slapping and the amount of pressure you're putting through that Morton's neuroma and the base of your metatarsal heads. So from here, just get the elbows to touch the knees. We're just going to kick the foot up towards ceiling, back, heel to ceiling, back, heel to ceiling, back. When you're doing it properly, you should feel core engages, hip flexor, so just inside the hip bone engages, but also because of the pull of the band, you're getting that tib anterior to engage as well. When you're doing this, one important thing to notice is that you don't want that elbow and that knee to separate or come apart. You want them to stay nice and tight, which tells you that you're using your core enough and you're using your hip flexors. If you start to dip down like that, you no longer use your hip flexors and you're starting to recruit your quads, which we don't want because they're probably going to be overused in day-to-day activities anyway. I hope this gives you a better understanding of how to treat your Morton's neuroma or your metatarsal head foot pain at home. And hopefully you learn from my mistakes and you don't go through the whole 3 to 6 month period of having to deload everything and then reload it again. If you found it useful, please let us know in the comments below. If you would like more stuff like this to help with all your other aches and pains, don't forget to subscribe or follow us, because we're always pumping out new content. And the other thing is we store a lot of that content on our website. So go and check out our website. We have heaps of videos, heaps of blog articles, just like this one, to help you move pain-free.